Welcome one and all to a very special series of episodes here at the CineGeeks podcast where movies, TV, and all things geek collide. This is Roy, still joined by my lovely co-host Angela.
Hey.
Hey Angela. And so this is it. One of the most wonderful times of the year.
Yeah, our tradition.
Yes, for us CineGeeks. We're talking of course about the Cinemalaya Film Festival. Mm-hmm. Yes, also known as Cinemalaya 20.
Yes, on its 20th year.
20th year, yes. So, if you were there with us last year, nung nagsisimula pa lang kami.
During our quote, first steps, quote.
Pang ilang episode pa lang natin ba yan? Mga 3, 4?
If I remember correctly, lower than 10.
Wala pa tayong 10 episodes nun. Pero, for some reason, we decided to watch 3 movies and then 3 movies, and then 4 movies, and then record an episode every single night afterwards.
Kaya itutuloy yung tradisyon na yan.
Oo. Anong naisip natin nun?
Grabe, no? 10 movies in 3 days.
Anong naisip natin nun, no?
Grabe. Pero special sa atin yun kasi that's your birthday tradition that we started last year.
Tsaka yun din yung parang naging first foray natin, kumbaga, into this bigger world of the movies, kumbaga.
The first major event that we covered.
Yes. So, last year, again, sinabi ko kanina, what we did was we watched 3 movies day 1, 3 movies day 2, and then 4 movies on the 3rd day. We are going to space it out a bit naman. Kasi at least kahit papaano, nakapagsimula naman tayo ng maayos.
And na maaga.
And maaga pa. Yes, yun. Yung keyword doon. We were able to start early.
Kasi last year, we started, patapos na.
Patapos na siya. Yes.
Oo.
Tama. If I'm not mistaken, parang a day after natin nung last episode natin, awards night na.
Parang last 3 days na siya.
Oo.
Kaya hinabol talaga natin yun.
Talaga. Pero yun nga, ang gagawin natin today is we're gonna space it out a bit. We're gonna go 2 movies every episode.
Yeah.
Okay? So, this is gonna come out on Sunday, August 4th.
Yes.
We watched these movies, August 3rd. We're gonna do 2 movies per episode.
Yes.
Okay? So, this is gonna be a total of 5 episodes. Diretso tayo doon.
For our Cinemalaya 2024. Series.
20. Sorry. Cinemalaya 20. Ng 2024.
Cinemalaya XX.
Yun na lang, XX. Okay, so wala na tayong cheche-boreche dito. We're gonna go right away to our first film that we saw technically yesterday, which is Balota, written and directed by Kip Ebanda. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Ebanda. Yeah. Starring, of course, Marian Rivera. She leads an ensemble cast. Just using yung summary, kumbaga, dito sa official Cinemalaya brochure.
Or logline
nila. So, Balota is about a teacher who pays an increasingly steep price for defending the democratic process of the election. Yan. Bago lang tayo mag-deep dive, kumbaga. Just want to parang say na before the festival began, this was one of my most awaited na mga movies for Cinemalaya. Particularly because ang ganda ng mga teasers na nilalabas nila.
Exactly. I completely agree, especially this one. Ito yung pinaka na-capture yung attention ko. Yung teaser and yung marketing nitong Balota. Because we've never seen Marian delve into these kinds of roles.
At saka pati yung juxtaposition nung sobrang niyang seemingly immortal danger. Tapos pinapakita yung scene na yung si Sasa Girl tsaka si Esnir na yung nag-aaway sila na parang mga rally-rally nung kandidato. Yung juxtaposition nun yung nakakakiliti eh.
Exactly. Diba? And parang yung typical na election, yung asaran, yung kantsawan, na parang nagiging NBA finals na parang you're either one of the 2 teams na naglalaban. So, very that.
Tapos kitang mo si Marian parang dugu-duguan yung mukha. Yun yung next cut to her bigla dun sa mga teaser. So, parang okay. So, looks interesting. Sige, let's get right to it. Ange, what did you think of Balota?
Spoiler-free.
Sige.
Kasi I want our listeners to experience this for the first time without knowing anything. It's the best way to watch movies like that. For me, broad strokes, sobrang cathartic siya in a way. And it really delivered dun sa dark comedy na pinresent niya dun sa trailer niya and dun sa logline niya. Parang it makes fun of the things na nangyayari sa Philippine elections, with a dark humor. Also, acknowledging yung ironic things that is cyclical about our election system. Kasi this is a period piece, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure about the year.
2007.
At it was stated ba?
Sinabi naman.
Okay. So, 2007, this was
pre-social media, basically.
Pre-social media and pre-automated election.
Yes.
So, ito na yung last election natin na manual.
Yung dilaw na ballot box.
Disulat lang talaga.
Disulat lang talaga.
So, yeah, it reminded me of those dark times during our electoral system. And this is a salute to all the teachers that worked during that time. And Marian represented a very nuanced character. Hindi siya one-dimensional. And she portrayed it so well. She's the best part of this movie.
Actually,
she carried it on her back talaga. Super. Just like the balota.
Nakakatuwa kasi, yes. Nakakatuwang makita kasi na si Marian is slowly returning to the spotlight. Of course, last December, nung MMFF, she and her husband, Dingdong Dantes, they appeared in Rewind. Okay, the highest grossing Filipino film ever.
Of all time.
Of all time na siya. Pero rarely do we see yung ganitong klaseng Marian na usually kasi pag sinabing Marian, well, at least in my exposure to her work, parang laging yung teleserye. Yung either patwitams, either yung inaapi. Tapos, ang kanyang persona outside of her work is more na yung mataray siya, palaban siya, ganon.
Fierce, intimidating.
Yeah. Pero hindi natin nakikita yun dun sa work. Lagi siyang yun yung meta niya eh. Yun yung kanyang meta personality niya eh. Outside of the teleserye and the movies eh. Kaya nakakatuwa, sinabi mo kanina na yung pagdala niya yung sine is how we perceive her to be in real life. Yun.
Yung rough edges niya.
Yun,
Yun, she wore it as a badge of honor. Kumbaga, in-embrace niya yung persona niya na mataray, na parang
palaban.
sour mouth girl. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo, na-remind ako kay Deb Morgan of Dexter. Si, Jennifer Carpenter.
And sabi mo din to kanina, this is not a spoiler kasi pinapakita sa mga trailer na nagmumura si Marian. Nakakatuwa siyang madinig magmura.
Napaka-satisfying, no?
Nakaka-satisfying.
It's almost therapeutic to hear Marian Rivera curse. Talagang ang lutong-lutong. Alam mo yun, parang, chef's kiss, yes.
Ang ganda
ganyan magmura.
Tama. And siyempre, complimenting her fierceness and of course, yung kanyang parang colorful vocabulary is, ako, personally, a dimension to her acting that I've never seen before. Talaga.
Yes.
Yung, kasi ang dime a dozen na, yung pag sinabing in peril, yung mga artista ngayon, mga bata, kahit yung mga matatanda, parang iisa lang yung acting nila eh. Parang, ang pag sinabing Pilipino na in danger, isa lang agad yung takbo nung pag-acting nila. Walang nuance.
Laging victim.
Oo.
Laging
kawawa
parang
ako.
chased, tortured, hurt.
Ito, yung character ni Marian was never presented to be parang a damsel in distress. She was never presented as a hapless, parang victim of this stupid situation that they're in. Talagang meron siyang prinsipyo at lumalabas dun sa actions niya na pinaglalaban niya. And credit that not just to Marian's acting, but to the writing of Kip Ebanda. And nakakatuwa kasi nakuha niya in broad strokes yung script. I mean, nakuha niya in broad strokes yung parang the insanity, for the lack of a better term, the insanity of every Philippine election cycle.
It's almost fantastical nga eh, how farcical is the right word, I think.
Diba? Pero nakakatawa sa kanya, farcical siya for outside observers.
Yes.
Pero pag sa atin yung mga Pilipino, sobrang na nating desensitized dun sa kung gaano kagago yung buong situation na yun.
It was normalized to us.
Yun. Kasi, yun nga, na parang, ang sabi mo kanina, parang siyang nagkakampihan sa basketball. Parang either Cleveland or Golden State.
Yes.
Yun. May mga jingle pa, may mga sumasayaw pa. Yung parang, if a foreigner were to see this film, they would think na parang, ganyan ba talaga yung election nyo? Pero sa atin parang part nung dark comedy niya Yung we ourselves, the audience, we are so desensitized to this insanity that when we see it on screen, parang, alam mo yung iyak-tawa, yung term na yun. Parang ganun tayo.
It's funny because it's true.
Oo. It's funny because it's true. Yes, that is right. Ako naman, siguro, hindi naman tayo sobrang parang, wow, best movie ever. Meron naman tayong mga nakitang gusto natin sanang ma-improve upon nung sine.
Yeah.
Ikaw, let's start with you. Anything that you saw that could have been done better, kumbaga?
It did leave me wanting dun sa mas mortal threat sa kanya. Although, I appreciate how street smart she is. Si Teacher Emmy. Pero, with everything that she went through, protecting and carrying that ballot box,
yes.
I would have loved to see a little bit more lang siguro. Nakulangan lang ako dun sa breaking down moment. Na parang talagang na-strip off siya. Parang tanggalin mo yung lahat ng pag-asa dun sa bida. Kasi this is a dark comedy, of course. You need the dark in the dark comedy. So, I would have loved a little bit more nihilism. I hope they double down on that.
Actually, I agree with that. Tama ka. Oo.
Kasi, in the end, kasi parang, alam mo yon, parang, kaya yun na nga parang our election is a joke.
Yes.
And it's not in a good way. 'Di ba? So parang yung cynicism niya, although meron, pero you can do a bit more of that.
Oo, tama kasi I mean, sige, and we're not gonna be spoiling anything again, pero the ending felt a bit too tidy. Okay, there are so many things that happen in the movie, so many dark. Let's say that. There are dark events in this film. Talaga. Na dapat may repercussions. Yes, to some extent, there were repercussions. Pero I would parang go back to what you said na I would have loved more nihilism in that sense na parang yung mas may konti pang hopelessness ba? Doon, kasi gano'n naman talaga yung pakiramdam natin lagi tuwing pagkatapos ng election eh. Na parang kapag yung quote-unquote sanang manalo, dapat manalo, yung hindi nanalo, everyone or the majority feels very, very hopeless. And then we laugh about it. And then that's where the dark humor of the Filipino comes from.
Yes.
Yung ganon. Ito, para siyang, it felt too tidy. It felt too clean, an ending.
You know what I remember? Na parang pwede mo pa siya na siyang i-push beyond the limit. Was yung ending nung A Very Good Girl. Nandun na yung nihilism, nandun na yung cynicism, and yung dark humor niya, yung dark comedy niya, na everything that happens is a joke and not in a good way. You could have pushed it a little bit more, but yun nga, parang it just ended so tidy.
Siguro kasi, I mean...
Or abruptly. Although, nandun naman, na-appreciate ko naman. Pero, pwede pang i-push Pwede pa sana. I think, na buti na banggit mo yung Very Good Girl. Kasi, this and A Very Good Girl are produced by big media conglomerates. Huwag na tayo mag-name names. Okay? Let's also just say that these media conglomerates have fans to parang pander to. Okay? Yeah. Yun. Ang ganda na sinabi mo kasi parang andun na tayo. Sana pinush na natin. Pero we're still there. I guess na parang it's still a step in the right direction.
Pa rin tayo. True. Pero natatakot pa rin tayong i-push yung envelope. 'Di ba? And it's funny kasi, and this is gonna come into play later on doon sa next movie na pag-uusapan natin. Pero but nung 70s and 80s, how come Bernal and Broca were able to push the boundaries and even parang create new boundaries with their films?
Well,
why are we so scared of making those moves now?
I can actually answer that.
Sige, go.
Social media.
Well, yes.
Period.
Social media kills everything.
Yeah, and the woke culture.
I guess.
And the fandoms.
Exactly. Yun ang sabi ko, you're pandering to fandoms.
Pero yung mga fandom noon, wala silang Twitter. Kaya, gumana sila Broca at saka sila...
Hindi, yung fandom noon, nagdarambo lang talaga. Yung mga Bilmanian tsaka mga Noran.
Pisikalan yun.
Nagpipisikan. One last na lang siguro before we move on to the next film. For me, sa Balota, I would have loved if the situations that Teacher Emmy found herself in were more Kafkaesque. Yung parang tipong mas hindi niya talaga ma-explain kung bakit nagkakandaleche-leche lahat. Kasi given the situation of yung how crazy the Philippine elections are, parang lagi tayo may boogeyman na pwedeng ituro na kaya ganito yung situation ni Teacher Emmy dahil dyan kasi may nag-aaway na partido. Pero sana lang sa akin, sana meron mga naging situations like we could have had her encounter common folk na sobrang jaded by the process na parang kahit sila pinipiloso po siya. Hihingi siya ng tulong pero sasabihin na parang wala na naman yung ginagawa mo. Parang ganon. Parang
yung ganong feel na parang it's what we see din naman
Exactly.
Parang that's not a foreign concept
exactly.
to all Filipinos.
True.
Especially yung na-establish nung umpisa, yung opening sequence ng movie reflects a lot on what you're saying just now.
Yes. Masabi ko lang.
Everybody is in on it.
Yes.
So parang sana in the end, hindi naman, parang nabalanse pa din siya. Hindi parang biglang nagkaroon ng sudden sense of integrity lahat.
True.
Kailangan gray pa din kasi the movie and the story in its entirety is gray.
Yes.
Even Teacher Emmy is gray.
We'll just leave it there. Baka may masabi pa tayo.
Yeah. Pero I love how morally ambiguous this movie is.
Everything is, actually. Yeah.
And it's a reflection on real life, di ba?
Tama. Pero of course, again, we're not ragging on the film. Okay,
Yeah, we enjoyed it a lot.
Yes.
It's a crowd pleaser actually.
Super.
We heard a lot of laughs and reactions from the crowd. Yeah.
Tsaka technically speaking, yung simula ng sine, actually peppered throughout the film. Ang dami niyang mga one-ers. Yung lalo na yung sa simula na yung nag-aabutan sila nung yung ganon na yung sinusundan lang nung camera yung nag-aabot ng pera, etc. Yung ganon process. Yun. Yeah, there is technical acumen on display here.
Yes.
And as for the acting, again, everyone came to play.
And Marian
knocked it out of the park.
Yes.
Pero maliban kay Marian, any one or two actresses in the cast that you'd like to give props to? Ikaw?
Well, Sasa Girl and Esnir, napaka-expected naman na they are the levity in this movie. Pero I commend Royce Cabrera's performance here.
Yes. Not naming names, but he was, at least nabawi niya yung last na scene niya na
napanood natin.
So, Royce Cabrera, you're back on our good side.
Yeah. He's very good in this movie.
Pero actually, he was siya yung only good part nitong last film na pinanood natin with him. Yun na lang, take that how you will. Okay. Anyway, so ako, sa akin nai-enjoy ko yung part ni Garda Versosa. Kasi medyo
ayan pala, about the politicians. Yan. They are really caricatures and rightfully so.
Yes.
Gusto ko yung pagkaka-portray sa kanila.
Yung choice na yun.
Yung pagkaka-frame, especially kay Gardo.
Kasi, I mean, that they're cartoon characters basically, all asking for our vote, then why not lampoon them? And magaling, ang gandang choice ni Kip yun, doing that. So, I guess that's it for Balota. And for this film, we're gonna be giving it an official Cinegeeks rating of B+.
Yes.
A recommendation nonetheless. We hope you catch this kasi talagang nagkakaubusan. Nung nandun tayo kanina, ang haba ng pila.
Nasa baba nga tayong seat eh.
Nasa row B. First time ko nakapanood ng sining Pilipino in IMAX.
Parang yung Oppenheimer na nandun ka sa front row.
Kita mo yung ganun yung mukha ni Cillian Murphy na parang tingala yung ilong niya.
Very that.
True. Alright, B+ for Balota. Let's move on real quick to our next and final film for this episode. First two films in the Cinemalaya 20 Film Festival, which is An Errand, written by Sarge Lacuesta, directed by Dominic Beckert, starring Sid Lucero. Yes, so for this film, as a driver travels from Baguio to Manila on an absurd errand from his boss, his car transforms into an echo chamber of memories spanning the chasms of time, class, and character. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really did not know what to expect from that logline.
True.
Pero ikaw naman, you go first this time. What did you think, Roy, of An Errand?
So far, calendar year 2024, hindi kasama ang MMFF last year. This is my favorite Filipino film of 2024.
Ooh. Whoa.
Itong An Errand.
Whoa.
I loved this film.
Okay.
Alam mo yung every second watching it, parang natutulala ako Napapaisip ko para, oh my God, this movie was made for me. Kasi para siyang, just real quick, it's about a driver of a wealthy man who is tasked to get something from that man's house in Manila na nasa Baguio na sila. Yan. Basically, that's it.
Ganun
But along
kasimple,
ganun kasimple yung premise niya. Sobra.
Oo.
Pero along the way, parang sobrang ang daming moments of introspection na nagpa-flood sa kanya. Na napaisip siya kung bakit ba niya kinuha tong trabahong to. Ano ba yung parang, ano yung view niya dun sa relationship niya sa amo niya. Ano yung...
Without words, ha?
Yun, oh God. Everything here happens with as minimal dialogue as possible. Yung pati yung parang ano yung pananaw niya dun sa relationships ng amo niya with other people, and even siya as a driver, how he sees his job through the lens of his association with other drivers. Na parang ang hirap pagsabi ng anything nito without spoiling this.
Yes, sobrang hirap niyang pag-usapan without spoilers. Pero just to piggyback on what you just said, this movie, it lends the audience a seat into the psyche of Sid Lucero as the driver.
Oo.
If you know the movie Being John Malkovich, parang ganon. Parang we are passengers.
Being Sid Lucero. Itong anera.
Being Moroy, actually.
Si Moroy.
Yung name niya.
Nung driver, yes.
Being Moroy. Parang ikaw yung mag-fill in nung kung ano yung iniisip niya eh. Kasi nga, there's no dialogue. Kumbaga, you've experienced driving. When you drive, di ba, ang daming tumatakbo sa isip mo kasi it's very meditative, it's very contemplative. You have parang these driving thoughts, parang akin to parang shower thoughts, gano'n.
Parang when you're driving, it's not just parang what you see in front of you. You can also relate what you see in front of you while driving to what's happening to you right now, what happened to you yesterday. Ganun siya tama ka dun sa term mo, meditative. Na talagang mapapaisip ka sa buhay mo minsan habang nagmamaneho ka. And in that sense, okay, nakakatuwa kasi while we were watching this, the biggest the thing I can connect to it was it felt like watching yung movie ni Nicholas Winding Refn, Drive, starring Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yeah.
Way back 2011. Although, I mean, drastically different yung kwento nila. Kasi mas action film-ish yung Drive eh. Pero yung the same steely, cool, introspective manner nung protagonist, na para siyang akala mo tahimik lang siya dahil gusto lang niya maging tahimik. Pero parang may tinatago siyang pagiging existential doon sa kanyang silence eh. Kasi there are so many mundane things that happen to Moroy, to Sid Lucero's character, na parang even those things that he quote-unquote should be enjoying, parang kita mo na overcome pa rin siya nung what is this life I have for me?
Grabe, no? Ito yung nihilism.
Oo.
Ito yung parang lost sense of self.
Oo,
diba?
Talaga. Sinabi ko to kanina nung pauwi tayo na nakakatuwa kasi parang yung Cinemalaya, siya na yung naging A24 natin. Tapos sinabi mo...
very that 100%. Lalo na to.
Sinabi na ito nga, parang A24.
Oo.
Yes.
Pero meron akong isa pang movie actually na na-relate dito. Simply because of the introspective nature of our protagonist. Para siyang David Fincher's The Killer.
Yes. Tama.
Kasi parang we see the protagonist do the most mundane things, almost parang habits niya lang, and takes parang napaka-normal lang a day in the life of this person. Pero you see parang in his eyes, in his face, parang all the things that parang nagpa-flash yung life niya in his mind. Ganon. Yun nga existential. It's very existential and introspective, a study of self.
True.
I mentioned to you na ito pa, parang we had a talk back after the screening.
Yes.
And
with the director, writer, and the cast. Some of the cast.
And I liked what the writer, Sarge Lacuesta, said about it, na parang he's not to tell us, the audience, what is and what isn't. Parang it's up to us how we interpret the things that happen or what Moroy is thinking about or kung ano ba yung morality nung movie and nung actions ng mga characters kasi it's like a Rorschach test of the audience's morality.
Yes.
Diba? Parang ganun. So parang iba-iba siya ng interpretation. When we talked about it after the screening, we were with Mark Magatia of Maganda Ba Movie. Iba din yung view niya. Diba?
Yes.
So yun yung best part about it.
Just to piggyback of what you said, na it doesn't become preachy. Yon. Ito, sige, we're gonna be realistic in this next part about this, discussing this movie, okay? If you see the people involved in this production, you're gonna see some names na, for the lack of a better term, are part of the alta crowd.
The
okay?
1%.
The 1%ers, okay? So, for some, it may turn them off or put them off na parang the 1%ers are making a movie again, parang quote-unquote lionizing the working class. Yon. Kasi we've seen that time and time again before na parang, si Yaya hero, si ganito, yung mga ganon. Okay? What I loved about this film is that it treats its subject matter, which is si Mutoy, a driver, in a very dignified manner, worthy of respect, and nakakatuwang makita na hindi siya nag-go the way of parang yung bleeding heart na pag-portray. Na parang,
patronizing.
Na hindi siya patronizing, na hindi siya yung, tinan nyo, kaawaan nyo naman siya. Hindi siya ganun. Ang nakakatuwa pa dito is, his character is actually a perfect mirror to yung character nung amo niya.
Exactly.
No, na parang, it doesn't matter kung nasan antas ka sa buhay. Pare-parehas kayo ng iniisip at pinoproblema. Iba-iba lang ang scale, iba-iba lang ang hulma, iba-iba yung mga boss na pinoproblema nyo.
Iba-iba yung mga master na sinaserve.
Yes, pero lahat kayo meron kayong kanya-kanyang way of parang trying to deal with this fucked up shit called life. Sige. Yun na lang yung sasabihin ko at baka may masabi pa akong iba. Okay? Again, no spoilers. Talaga.
Very hard to talk about this without spoilers.
Super. I'll just go ahead and give major props. I mean, maliban kay Sarge tsaka kay Dominic. Ano na yan? Understandable na yan. To the DP or cinematographer, si Steven Evangelio. Oh my God. Itong isa sa mga parang pwede mong nasini kapag sinabi yung phrase na every frame a painting.
Ang
talaga.
Ganda, no?
Ganda.
Napaka-hypnotic niya.
Ang ganda ng Baguio. Gusto kong bumalik ng Baguio. Ang ganda, talaga.
It's almost therapeutic.
Yes. And again, nagiging ethereal yung lugar. Parang ito nga nakakatawa doon kasi sabi ba ni Dominic before the film or after? Basta may nagsabi na parang thank you yung kay Steven for parang making a sea Baguio like we've never seen it before. So parang sa akin parang, okay, sure. Pero nung nag-play na yung scene, parang, shit, nga, no? Tama nga siya. Parang, I've never seen Baguio that way before.
We've always known Baguio as strawberries.
Oo, parang
Burnham
Session Road.
Park, yon, Session Road.
Pero yung ganun siya ka-cold, literally and metaphorically cold
Yun.
and distant.
Exactly.
Para siyang scene, I mean this as a compliment. This feels like an Apple TV Plus production. Ganun siya ka-sterile yung visuals niya. Pero it lends to the thematic parang elements of the film. It doesn't parang
of how mundane it is.
Hindi siya nakaka-take away dun sa parang isa lang yung mukha niyan like Apple TV stuff. Pero dito parang siyang okay, I haven't seen this vibrant place, this cold, this sterile, this parang unforgiving. Even a fucking country club looks so unforgiving.
And so boring.
So boring.
And so bland, no?
Diba?
Ay, nabanggit ko nga pala sa'yo while we were watching na parang this movie feels yung visually out of focus.
Yun.
Parang is that intentional na grainy siya?
I think so. Kasi yun nga, it's a dreamlike, diba? Parang siyang
surreal, no?
Surreal. Yan.
Surrealist.
And adding to that, the surrealist parang nature of this whole thing is the excellent musical score by Michael Benedicto. Sobrang,
ay, oo.
Para siyang Gunar's Daughter.
O nga, no?
Yung tunog niya.
Tapos nagulat pa nga ako, merong isang song na diegetic pala.
Yun. Oo.
I thought it was, yun nga, a soundtrack.
I think yun yung sinasabi ni...
Na biglang sinabayan ng kanta ni
Sid.
Ni Moroy.
I think yun yung sinabi ni Sarge na parang kundi man siya na masaya, pero parang inarrange siya ni the writer tsaka ni Michael Benedicto in such a way na para siyang soulful, na parang dirge siya pakinggan. I mean, I can't speak Ilocano o Ilonggo. Ilonggo siya, no? Kasi Iloilo, yung character.
Oo, pero kasi yung setting was...
Alam ko, Baguio.
In Baguio, so Ilocano yun.
Yung kanta, yun. Basta yung kanta is in a dialect, sorry, I'm not familiar with. Pero, nung sinabi sa talkback na this song basically is like an ode to a relationship. Para siyang ganun.
With kundiman.
With kundiman siya. So, parang it's supposed to be happy, it's supposed to be parang full of heart. Pero parang dito, inarrange nila siya in a way na parang siyang dirge. Nahihirapan yung kumakanta at yung kinakantahan. Yun. Parang ganun yung dating nung kanta eh.
Would you say na it's a representative of Moroy's emotional state?
I guess. I would say. Oo.
Kasi he feels so repressed.
Yun.
Emotionally.
Super. Oo. Yun na lang sasabihin natin dun sa kanya. Kasi there are so many visual representations of that. Yung kanyang emotionally suppressed nature niya. Pero yun, the music adds to that. Alam mo yung parang kahit may mga times na parang siyang biglang magiging pulsating yung score niya. Tapos biglang maya-maya biglang magiging placid, contemplative. Parang it mimics somewhat the ever-evolving psyche of a person going through questions.
Existential crisis.
Oo, parang ganun. So parang everything works so much. Kaya nga again, my best Filipino film of 2024.
Ang ganda niya, no?
Ang ganda niya. Sobra.
We loved it.
Yes.
I think needless to say.
Anything else ikaw to add?
I think you covered everything. And I would like to add, there was a bit of levity in the movie.
Naman.
Well-timed pressure release.
Yes.
But it wasn't too much. It's still very grounded kind of humor na hindi nagte-take away dun sa gravitas nung eksena and nung character.
Yes.
It was not out of place and it was not tone deaf. Especially this is tackling class. Alam mo yon, we have seen movies na napaka out of touch.
Yes.
About making jokes about the poor, about the working class. And it was nothing like that. And I appreciate basta siya si Tatay Ben.
No?
Si Tatay Ben, sabi niya na this is parang lending a voice to the unheard, to the voiceless. And they really were careful and sensitive enough to represent that class with grace and with care. And yon, I appreciate that kahit yung comedy niya na well-timed na moment of levity, kahit papano, was still within the confines of the context of this story.
Yes. Tsaka madagdag ko na lang one last. Ito, sige, no spoilers, okay? Parang primer lang kumbaga, para lang hindi kayo magulat. There is gonna be an element in this film where many people will definitely go, the fuck is this? Okay? Sa amin lang is, sakyan nyo lang. Okay? Sakyan nyo lang, pag nakita nyo na kung ano yun, and then try to think about it in the context of the existential crisis of the protagonist. Yan. Okay? Kasi, nung unang panood, syempre, para tayong, alam mo yung parang, wow, okay, what the hell did I just watch? Tapos habang ina-unpack natin siya, parang na-realize natin na, okay, that thing makes a whole lot of sense. Especially in the context of Moroy's character and everything that he goes through in this film. Yon.
Yes, I can say that. It's so hard to talk about it. Pero kasi, iba din yung interpretation ko about that scene. Kasi nga, it speaks on your morality as a person.
Yun na lang.
How
Tama.
you will interpret it. It's a Rorschach test.
Ayun. That element that we're talking about is what gives this movie its Rorschach test element. Tama ka.
Yeah, to those of you who don't know, Rorschach is like the ink blot.
Yung ink blots, yes.
Na parang different people see it differently.
Yan.
Iba-iba yung mga shapes na nakikita nila. So, yan.
That's it. Sige na, we're gonna leave it there kasi pag tumuloy pa tayo dito baka may masabi tayong spoiler.
Yeah. So sakyan nyo lang yung biyahe.
Please. Dito ta. Sumakay lang kayo dun sa Fortuner ni Moroy. Ni Lucero.
Pwede rin sa Victory Liner bus. Pabagyo.
True. Yeah. I guess that's it for an errand. Cinegeeks rating solid A.
Yes.
Yes. I know this movie is not gonna be for everybody. Definitely. Pero siguro ito, I don't use this word in this platform often. Pero I'm pleading with you to please parang just give this a chance.
Yes.
Parang listen to what this film's heart has to say. And then parang make up your mind about it after you give the film its due chance. Yun. Don't dismiss it immediately kasi alam ko na, especially with that, given that the ending of this film, people are either going to love it or hate it. Pero before you outright say na you didn't like it, ang ano lang namin siguro is just himayin nyo.
Dig deeper.
Dig deeper. Kung talagang pagkatapos nyo mahimay, wala talaga para sa inyo, then that's fine. Diba naman tayong iba-iba naman tayo ng opinion.
Yeah.
Pero please do not, and we're saying this for every film that we see, whether it's a Marvel movie, whether if it's a Cinemalaya film, if it's a Viva film, no problem. Dig deeper. Yan. And then, kung talagang pagkatapos nyo maghukay doon sa sine na pinapanood nyo, kung talagang wala, that's fine. Problema.
Yes.
Yeah. Woo. Okay. Yay. Cinemalaya.
Cinemalaya XX series part 1.
Yes. So, this ends our first of 5 special episodes about the Cinemalaya 20 main competition films, feature length. We hope to try to see yung shorts kasi our movie buddies, cinehan buddies are saying glowing things about some of the shorts. We hope to see that as well.
Shout out to Mark.
Oh, yes. Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Tapos, hope din namin na after nung 5 episodes of 2 each, makapag-episode din tayo ng predictions natin.
Yes. And we'll invite some of our cinehan buddies, whoever's available.
Sinong sana matuloy. Pero, ikaw, anything to add?
Yes, I'm looking forward to our next movies. So, yeah.
Okay,
stick with us.
Yes, please. So, that's it for episode 1 of 5 of this special Cinemalaya 2024 series of the Cinegeeks podcast. Again, this is Roy.
And Angela.
Yes, and thank you for listening to the Cinegeeks podcast, where movies, TV, and all things geek collide.